This worrisome video I'm about to show you was posted on March 18th of 2017 by a person who had been teetering on the edge of self-destruction for years.
Things are much worse this time. Something seems to be after me.
I don't know what else to say. Except goodbye.
You'll never guess what he does next, but first let me tell you what he has been through. His psychological torment would begin in early 2015, approximately 2 years before his final goodbye. That was when someone began knocking at his door almost every night for days. He lives all alone and is a very private person, so introverted in fact that we never learn his name. For him to have a visitor is not normal, let alone in the middle of the night. The knocks were annoying at first, but he figured it would stop if he ignored it. But when that didn't work, he decided to start documenting everything early on, in case he needed to take it to the police or something later. He also decided to confront it and defend himself if need be. This incident, taken on February 12, 2015, starts with 2 knocks that are so soft, it would be easy to think you're imagining them. But after 3 weeks of harassment, he is frazzled and hears every noise, so he springs to action ready to meet force with force, but there's just one problem. Nothing is ever there to confront. Listen closely to this part, because I hear chatter after he locks up. He installs a second camera outside the very next night on February 13th, 2015, Friday the 13th to be exact. Sure enough, it starts again. He opens the door and no one's there. It's not 2 different videos put together either, because his movements in both videos sync perfectly, like at 1 minute and 15 seconds when he smooths his hair. Even if he practiced this routine, it still wouldn't be this dead on. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that this happens at 3 a.m. every night. Anyone would want to move, and he absolutely did, but his money situation meant he couldn't either continue to endure this or go homeless in the middle of the winter. Eventually, he decides to go outside before 3 a.m. and see if he can catch whatever or whoever is doing this on video. He doesn't see them, but he does find footprints leading away from his house into the woods. The footprint is separated in 2 halves, more like a hoof print than a foot, yet 2 legs instead of 4. Some people have said this could be a demon or even a cryptid. I don't know about all of that, but I know that he really did go out at 3 a.m. and I know this because I hear a train throughout the video. Oddly enough, this late night train is heard in all of his videos, and I think could be closely related. Something bad must have happened on the nearby tracks. By August 28th, whatever had left those footprints was looking for other ways inside both day and night. No longer was it confined to 3 a.m. Tell me if this is an animal or something way worse. I didn't hear any claws tapping. This was the sound of somebody fast. A raccoon or a possum would be doing this at nighttime. This was something big in the middle of the day, like a restless spirit. So after years of experiencing this and other similar encounters, perhaps you'll better understand why. After saying goodbye in March of 2017, he simply decided to open up the door and stop.
Goodbye.
Whatever that was, it sounded far from being a person. Over 2 years later, this mysterious final video was uploaded on January 1st, 2019. Those sound like church bells. Maybe this is a clip taken from a funeral. Could it be his? And whoever typed these replies doesn't act like him at all. In 2014, a YouTuber was finishing up a hiking trail in Fernie, British Columbia, when an unwanted intruder decided to make him its intended prey.
That is a mountain lion, and he's stalking me.
A wild mountain lion emerges from the tall brush with its head low to the ground, ready to pounce. The man instinctively turns and runs, but then he regains his wits and stops to confront his aggressor.
I am much bigger than you. I'm way bigger than you.
The young mountain lion seems surprised at this bold reaction, but then it quickly blends into its surroundings again and regains the upper hand. Eventually, it's spotted again a few more times as it prowls along the trail close by. The two eventually end up staring at each other from a short distance. As the showdown comes to a tense close, the mountain lion seems unsure and eventually wanders off. It may have lost for now, but in another year or two, I'm sure the animal would have undoubtedly grown into a much larger threat. A YouTuber named Jack Torrance says that he found this old VHS tape at a yard sale. Most of it is just a man walking through the forest while holding a stick for protection. There's very little sound except for footsteps and his labored breathing as he hikes onward. Later, night falls and the man is still going forward at a decent pace, maybe even faster than before. He appears disoriented and swings the camera wildly as he travels, almost like he has lost his way and is now panicking. Then something makes him abruptly stop. It's hard to tell for sure, but it looks like some kind of green sack on the ground. Then it's pulled by a yellow string across the forest floor. When the cameraman looks up, he finds only darkness. It seems like whoever filmed this was alone the entire video, so I have no idea what was on the ground or, more importantly, who was pulling it away. This ghost sighting will send chills down your spine. Published to YouTube by TechWorld TV in August of 2014, this video shows a haunted Hindu cremation site. A man arrives at this site in India to investigate a local story. According to the man, he was walking down this dirt road when he saw an entity at this place. The investigator explains that passed away individuals are taken there for their last rites. Nobody lives here, apart from packs of stray dogs. As the man navigates around the puddles on the wet road to approach the ceremonial sites, dogs start barking like crazy at a distance.
In this place.
Then the man shouts that he just saw an entity floating from the building further back. Upon closer inspection of the video, you can see the white vapor the man is talking about. It appears in the darkness under the veranda before floating up and then vanishing. While some point out the vapor moves simultaneously with the camera. One Redditor, Ricky Jaikaran, notes, "I would have said it was a smudge on the camera if the dogs hadn't started to bark at the same time. What do you think? Coincidence or a spirit ascending?" A while back, I analyzed a video about these weird things found on the ice in Utah. It gave two friends a scare. The video was really eerie because it had over 1 million views, and absolutely no one in the comments could tell what these strange objects were, or if they were even alive. They were small and uniform in shape, and everyone was saying that they looked like eggs from another planet. I wanted to provide an update and say we've all been had. This bizarre sighting was later discovered to be an art project made by a student named Claire Lewis. Claire shows us that these weird things found on the ice were nothing more than a mix of flour and salt dipped in water. She estimates making over 1,000 of these and carefully setting them in the ice in a spiral pattern before walking away. Time passed, and by the time they were discovered, her footprints had been covered up by more snow and the objects had sunken into the ground, giving this creepy burrowing effect. So if you see this anywhere else and they try to tell you it's mysterious and unexplained, remember where you got the real story. The Borgwanet house, built in 1876 in Sweden, is said to be one of the most haunted places in the world. Scratching, knocking, and screaming comes from the walls, not to mention shadow figures and objects moved by a ghost. The first reports of paranormal activity were in 1927, and they've continued ever since. Dima Maslenikov wants to document any and all paranormal activity on camera. It does not take long. The house is still when he hears a weird noise. It sounds like an EVP of a distant scream. He gets up and looks in the room. Two knocks, both coming from this door. He sets up a toy for a ghost to play with that also has a motion sensor.
Честно говоря, вот про эту комнату я толком ничего не знаю. И про нее, по-моему...
Not only does the motion detector fall off, it continues to stay on for a full 3 seconds. When he turns around, something was in the room with him, a paranormal entity. There wasn't anyone in the room. The bear falls over on its own. Next, he finds an infamous old rocking chair that's said to be the center of a lot of paranormal activity. He takes a flash Polaroid and notices a large dark shadow hanging over it, a shadow that does not look like it was cast by the chair because it's in front. He tries to recreate the lighting conditions and is unable to make the same round shadow appear. No matter how many pictures he takes, it never comes close to being like this one. This does seem to indicate that it's a shadow figure caught on camera in the first photo. The investigator summons his courage and goes exploring the second floor of the Borgwanet house. As he's watching the ceiling light moving by itself, a ghost pushes him. Watch for the camera blur as it walks by. That's when he notices a heavy piece of furniture has been pushed in front of a door. Someone was trying to keep something from getting out of its room. He moves the barricade and looks inside. It's an attic space with a small table for someone small to eat at by themselves. The space is empty. Whatever they were trying to keep inside has already left, so the legend spoke of shadow people, screaming and knocking from the walls, and objects moving by themselves. It's hard to believe it, but he really does seem to have encountered all of the creepy stuff in one visit, and it all somehow seems real. Devin Brosiv and his friend Brian find the creepy remains of a decrepit hairless doll in the woods one day. They want to take a video of the bizarre find, so Devin goes back to get his phone. When he returns a short time later, the doll is not in its original spot.
Brian, I found it. It's moved. Look. Oh my god, that thing is creepy.
Somehow the doll had become entangled under a thick pile of brush. Within the brief period of time that it took for them to get a phone and come back to the spot, The two friends record it for a bit and then leave. 2 days later, they get a random impulse to check on the doll again. A light snow now covers the forest floor, though they are confident that they can find the doll again easily. This time, in place of where the doll's head and body used to be, they find its missing leg. Either somebody has been ripping dolls apart and moving around the body parts all over the forest, which is creepy enough, or I guess this doll has been doing it on its own. Both are simply terrifying. Thank you so much for getting me to 30,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 40,000 subscribers next. Thank you.